Right. Hello, friends. Welcome back. So, uh, so this is another most awaited video from PKSL classes. So this will be international case study 2. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for the tremendous response in the form of messages and so many things for the first case study that I've uploaded in my YouTube channel as well as for my classes as well. Now, this is going to be the second international case study. So, first of all, before I continue with this session, please understand that the purpose of this international case study is only to give you a little bit more practice. And also, I personally feel that don't look at these case studies as something like the same question will come into the exam. It might come because in the previous examination it has come. But the ultimate purpose of these case studies is this will help you understand the concepts better. It will totally give you a different perspective. So that's the beauty of these case studies. That's the way I've selected the case studies. So by learning these international case studies, we will have a better understanding of the concepts which we have already learned from our ICA study material. Or if you are doing cost management, that ICA, both are ICAs, right? So CW study material, whatever it is. So that is the biggest purpose of going through these international case studies. And I personally find them really wonderful. I personally had the pleasure of learning them. When I'm writing the power notes also, it's just like watching a movie for me. That much I'm enjoying. I hope you guys also will enjoy the same way when you're listening to this particular lecture, because it's a so beautifully crafted case studies where you can relate to your real life, and the concepts are beautifully, you'll understand. So I cannot express you the feeling that I've got right now, but all I can promise you is that these case studies gives you learning pleasure, absolutely. So that's all I can say. Right, anyway, guys, so now without wasting any further time, let's get on with the case study. Okay, now the second case study that we're gonna go, the international case study, is Mega Snack. Okay, so let's go with that. Mega Snack cooperates an extensive chain of fast food outlets in a number of countries. Most outlets are owned and managed by the company, but some are operated under a franchising agreement. The company's strategy is based on conformity, providing a range of standard products at a standard price. Let's make it a bit more visible. Okay. So the company's strategy is based on conformity, providing a range of just a second, guys, sorry for the interruption. Okay, providing a range of standard products at a standard price in similarly designed stores using the same service procedures. This means that customers visiting a Mega Snack outlet in any country will know what service, what eating environment, and what products to expect, and depending upon currency rates, how much they will have to pay for their food. So what else? The financial strategy of the company has been to achieve targets for gross contribution and net operating profit at all outlets, and to achieve sales growth by meeting customer needs and expectations better than rival fast food companies, with support from extensive advertising. Two key performance indicators which Mega Snack uses to measure the performance of its outlets are revenue per outlet and staff cost as a percentage of revenue. The senior operations management team at head office have become concerned recently by a number of reported incidents in some local outlets have been deviating from the company's strategy in order to meet target for sales growth or profit margins. Several incidents are itemized below. Okay, so let's have a look at it one by one. Okay, incident number 1. Some outlets have been offering special discount prices or special deals, 2 for the price of 1, in order to increase sales, and for the same reason some outlets have offered a home delivery service which is against the company policy. Some outlets have cut training cost for staff in order to save cost, and head office managers are concerned that this could affect the quality and speed of service given to the customers. Other outlets have taken on temporary staff without training them in order to meet the demand from customers. There have been reports that in one country, outlets have been offering extra products on their menu in addition to the standard mega snack product range. To put it very simple, this is nothing but McDonald's, but he has given you a different name. We are actually talking about McD. Okay. There has been adverse publicity in the media about one outlet that was disposing of food waste in a way that was contrary to health and safety laws and in breach of the company's health and environmental policies. Another adverse media story has been the decision of the manager of one outlet to dismiss all the staff after they took unofficial strike action. The manager took this action without consulting head office or referring to the company's industrial relations policy. Another source of concern has been a problem with the quality of pre-preparation of food products. Mega Snacks products are pre-prepared at a number of large processing centers. I told you, right? In McDonald's, all the fries are already fried actually. They will be refried again when you go and try to order your dish. Same logic applies to the patty, the burger patty, whether it is veg or non-veg. Same logic applies to everything. Okay, they are frozen foods basically. So they are then transported to the outlets each day from these processing centers. Each outlet then finishes the preparation of the products for serving to the customers in their own kitchen. Recently, during a period of high demand for products from the mega snack outlets, the managers of some processing centers have resisted demands to produce more pre-prepared output on the grounds that this would stretch their resources and damage the quality of the food items produced. Senior management have recognized that a problem exists with the processing centers and are considering what action to take. So you are required to. So this is a 25-mark question. It can come for 20 marks also in your ICA exam. Normally in international exams it comes for 25 marks. Anyway, required. Briefly evaluate the choice of revenue per outlet and staff cost as a percentage of revenue as key performance indicator for mega snacks outlets. Okay. Second, with reference to the experiences at Mega Snack, discuss the reasons for conflict between the strategic business plans of a large organization and short-term decision making at local level. Third, recommend the measures that senior management at Mega Snack should take to reduce the scope for such conflict and the risk that this conflict might occur. So that is the question. So I'll give you at least 5 minutes to read the question at least 3 times, because without reading the question, even if I go with the solution, you'll not be able to understand anything. So I'll have the stopwatch with me. I want you guys to read the question. Okay. And then we'll start with the answer. Right, guys. You got 5 minutes. Read the question 3 times and then we'll go with the solution. Done with the reading, guys? Second part. This one. Right, guys, last part of the question. Read the question seriously and diligently, guys, because from the question only we're going to build up the answer. So reading the question is very important. That's why I'm giving you enough time. There's not a time for you to relax. Okay, so all of the guys who have purchased the Google Drive or pen drive or Android app classes, whatever the classes of CA Final SCMP, you will get, if I'm not wrong, right now, as of now, I'm planning around 10 case studies, international case studies I'm talking about, and in the future time, as early as possible, depending upon my schedule, I want to increase it all the way to 20, and shortly I'll try to increase it to 30. That's my plan of action. I'm not promising anything over here, but that's what I'm trying to do, because I have to put in a lot of efforts. It takes some days of efforts to write power notes for a single international case study, because you need to work out on the solution and try to simplify it, at the same time cover all the points. So it's a what can I say, it's a brainstorming work. Okay, it takes a lot of efforts. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, the intention for me is always, there is always something new to learn. Okay, because ultimately the exams that we write, I personally believe that, okay, we are writing it for certificate, and certificate does have value, but ultimately it's the skill that will take you to another level. I really believe into that. Otherwise all the CAs should be earning same salary as of now, because all the people have got same certificate, right? But that's not the case. Some are earning in crores, some are earning in lakhs, some are not even earning in thousands. Okay, not even 50,000 to be very honest. So which means that sort of difference is there, and everybody has got the same certificate. So which means, okay, we'll take out few exceptions where maybe they have got good circle, maybe their previous generation is also chartered accountants and they have the advantage and all that. But apart from that, if you look at the 90% of the cases, definitely it's a skill that differentiates people. So some are earning in crores, some are earning in lakhs, some are earning in thousands. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that how important for you is to pass the exams, and all these things, the so-called things that you hear in the society. One thing that I can tell you seriously from my side is skill. So what we are trying to do with international case studies here is two things. One is, it helps us to pass the exams, of course. Why? Because we'll be getting better idea of how to tackle case studies, and definitely ICAI is going to test you on new case studies. Of course, it's gonna be from the collection is going to be from international books or international exams. So obviously then intentionally you'll be able to clear it off easily. You'll have the edge over there. Apart from that, it also really helps you to look into different perspective with respect to the same concept that you've learned. And tomorrow when you're working in a service sector or in a manufacturing sector, definitely your skill will be on together a different level, and you'll definitely, I can say, your hierarchy rise, okay, the kind of promotions and the stuff will be much faster. If I'm not, I can even say that it will be 2 to 3 times faster than the others who have just passed the exams without any skill. So that makes a lot of difference. So your 5 years will be equal to somebody's 10 years or 15 years. Keep that in mind. That makes a huge difference. Okay, you may not know what I'm trying to say right now because you guys are studying CA final or CMA final, whatever it is. But once you join in a company and after 3 or 4 years, definitely you'll remember my words. Chalo, anyway. So I hope you guys have done with your reading 3 times. Let's start with the solution. Just a second before that. Right, friends. So now we have come to the power notes. Okay. Before we get to that, let's have a look into the first part of the question. Briefly evaluate the choice of revenue per outlet and staff cost as a percentage of revenue as key performance indicators, that is KPIs, for Mega Snacks outlets. Now, before I start with the solution, now guys, please understand one thing. If you really want to understand this particular case study, you should have completed a chapter called PME, that is Performance Measurement and Evaluation, from your CA Final SC and PE. In that, there's a concept called CSF and KPIs, that is Key Performance Indicator, as well as Critical Success Factors. If you already know that concept, then you'll be able to understand this particular case study better. If you don't know that, still you'll be able to understand, but it will be a little bit tricky. Okay, chalo, anyway. So let's start with the first one. Power notes for Mega Snack, evaluation of KPIs, that is Key Performance Indicator. That's what he has asked you in the question. Evaluate the choice of first KPI, that is revenue per outlet, and second KPI, that is staff cost as a percentage of what? Revenue. So we need to evaluate them, which means we need to talk about whether it is good or bad, you know, the pluses and minuses. Anyway, first thing is, if you look at the financial strategy of Mega Snack, it is achieving sales growth. That is clearly given in the question. I did not take this from somewhere else, you know. It's not magic or something like that. It's simple, straight point from the question. So the financial strategy of Mega Snack is achieving sales growth. So when your strategy is to achieve the sales growth, then revenue per outlet is a good KPI. Are you able to understand? However, why can't your KPI be revenue growth itself? Then it would be even more better. See, we are not saying that revenue per outlet is not a good KPI, because ultimately it achieves your financial strategy of achieving sales growth. More the revenue per outlet, more will be the sales growth. That's fine. It suits with your financial strategy, but it can be made better. So instead of having revenue per outlet, you can have sales growth itself as KPI. Then straight away it matches with your financial strategy, that is achieving sales growth, because sales growth is your KPI and you measure the sales growth in numbers, and straight away it achieves your financial strategy, which is achieving sales growth. Very simple. So okay. So the first point that we are trying to say here is that since your financial strategy is to achieve the sales growth, for doing that, the revenue per outlet is a good KPI, but nevertheless it can be made even better if the KPI is revenue growth. Got it? KPI itself is revenue growth. That's one point. Second point is, if you look at incident 1 in the question, we'll move on over here. I hope you guys have read the question 3 times. That's the reason I gave you a lot of time to read the question. Some outlets have been offering special discount prices or special deals in order to increase sales. As you can see here, they are giving discounts only to increase the sales. Why they want to increase the sales? Because of the KPI, that is revenue per outlet. So that revenue, in other words, sales per outlet has to be more. If that has to be more, they have to sell more number of units or more number of goods or more number of food, whatever it is. Okay. For that purpose, they have actually reduced the price. So which means actually here KPI is doing good or bad? Indirectly it is doing bad. That's what we are trying to discuss. Anyway, incident 1, that is discounts and deals, may be unintentionally or intentionally due to revenue per outlet KPI. Because you have kept KPI as revenue per outlet, probably that KPI would have led to a wrong decision of giving discounts, disregarding the uniform policy making of Mega Snack. See, we don't know for sure that this KPI of revenue per outlet gave way for these kind of discounts or deals. What we are trying to say here is it might have been, so it's just a thought process. Maybe this revenue per outlet KPI would have led to a situation where in order to achieve the revenue per outlet, they have forced themselves to increase the sales by way of discounts or deals. You got the point? So that's why we have here the better answer would have been maybe unintentionally or intentionally, due to revenue per outlet KPI. That's the reason probably incident 1 has happened. So then the probable solution can be, if you want to avoid incident 1, find out gross profit percentage as well in addition to revenue per outlet. Now what happens because of this? In case if you try to reduce your selling price by giving discounts, then automatically your gross margin percentage gets reduced. So if you keep a target gross margin percentage, then these so-called outlet managers, they will not give discounts in order to increase the sales, because they might achieve one of the KPIs, that is revenue per outlet, by doing so, but they will be caught in another KPI, that is gross margin percentage, because your gross margin percentage will get reduced. Are you able to understand? So it's a smart move. That's a possible solution, right? Beautiful solution, in fact. So the thought process is very simple. The first incident has happened probably, maybe due to the KPI, that is revenue per outlet. So also, because your objective or the financial strategy is achieving sales growth, revenue per outlet suits it. It's a good KPI, but it can be better if you made the KPI as, if you made revenue growth as KPI. That's another thought process. Also, probably incident 1 may have happened because of the KPI, that is revenue per outlet. Therefore, it's better you not only measure revenue per outlet, but also you have another KPI as gross margin percentage or gross profit percentage. Thereby, if they try to go for discount in order to increase the sales such that they achieve the KPI, which is revenue per outlet, they will get caught in gross margin percentage. Got the point? Okay. So another strategy for Mega Snack is conformity. Uniformity, which means all the branches must stick on to the principles, which means in one branch if discount happens, in all the branches discount must happen. In one branch if discount doesn't happen, no other branch discount should happen, which means there must be uniformity or conformity. But discounts will affect the same. If some outlets are giving discounts and if some outlets are not giving discounts, what's happening? It is disturbing your uniformity or conformity, correct? So therefore, Mega Snack need to have additional control to ensure the conformity or uniformity across its outlets all over the world. Got the point? Otherwise, what happens is that your customers will lose that confidence, because right now your greatest strength is that irrespective of the branch in any city, see, that's what happens with McD, KFC and Subway, right? Any city, any place you go, you know that the taste will be like this, the quality will be like this, the items will be this. So you have everything in your mind. The ambience will be like this. So everything is quite a bit clear, and that's what attracts people to go. Irrespective of, normally if you look at all our Desi hotels, will say that okay, this particular place it's good, but when it comes to McD and KFC, mostly the answer is like any McD or KFC is one and the same, because they maintain that, you know, quality, the uniformity, the conformity. That's the point. So people come with an expectation and it is satisfied, you know. Okay, so that's our analysis or evaluation of the first KPI, that is revenue per outlet or revenue per store. Okay, now let's move on to the second one. What is that? Staff cost as a percentage of revenue. That's the, what is that? Second KPI. So staff cost as a percentage of revenue is a relative measure. Obviously, it's a sensible KPI. Always, see why I've written sensible KPIs. Always relative measures are good. Keep this in mind. This is another universal point. Students, those who have listened to my Google Drive or Pen Drive class or Android app classes, you would have already known the importance of universal point. So this is a universal point. So always when you have a relative measure as KPIs, it's very good. A relative measure as KPIs, it's very good. Keep this in mind. So staff cost as a percentage of revenue is a relative measure. Okay, if revenue falls, then cost increases. It would be picked up by this particular KPI, correct? See, if revenue falls, what will happen? Staff cost as a percentage of revenue will increase, because revenue has got reduced. Then the percentage of staff cost remaining the same on a reduced denominator will get increased, which is not a good thing. So that will be picked up by this particular KPI. At the same time, if cost increases, which means revenue remains constant and staff cost increases, then that also will be picked up by this particular KPI. So the KPI is very good. That's why we have written that it is sensible KPI. That's why always remember, tomorrow when you join a particular company also, when you have relative measures as KPI, it will give you very good results. Keep this in mind. When you have relative measure as KPI, it will give you very good results. Keep that in mind. I hope some of you are able to understand what is the importance of this relative measure, why I'm stressing on it so much. Now, incident 2. Let's try to see what is incident 2. Some outlets have cut training cost for staff in order to save cost, and head office managers are concerned that this could affect the quality of food and speed of service given to the customer. Other outlets also, they have taken on temporary staff without training them in order to meet the demand from the customers. Okay. Now this incident too, where you have cut short the training for the customers, or you have taken untrained employees, sorry, you have cut short the training for employees, or you have taken untrained temporary employees, maybe due to this KPI. Which KPI? Staff cost as a percentage of revenue. However, still it would be picked up by this KPI in the long run, as this is a relative measure. Are you able to understand? I did not say it will be picked up by this KPI immediately. What is the wording here? It will be picked up by this KPI in the long run. Please try to understand. See, once you cut short your cost by way of not giving enough training to your so-called employees, then what will happen? Immediately, it will not be affecting your sales. So the staff cost will be less because you haven't trained them, thereby you have reduced cost, you have saved cost. And staff cost as a percentage of revenue, so staff cost is less and the revenue is good, which means the percentage will be less, which means it's a good one actually. But then in the long run, what will happen? Your employees are not trained enough because you haven't given them training, or the so-called temporary employees whom you have recruited without giving enough training, they will not serve well, they will not prepare good food, they will not provide good service to the customers. So at a point of time, customers will understand that in this particular branch things are not happening in a good way, and eventually what will happen is that they might stop coming to that particular branch. Then eventually what happens? It will affect your sales. Then eventually what happens? The revenue will get reduced, and therefore staff cost as a percentage of revenue will get what? Increase. So ultimately it will be picked up by this KPI, but not in the short run, but in the long run. So this is a good KPI. So finally our evaluation is, even revenue per outlet is a good KPI, but you can make it better by going for revenue growth as a KPI in this kind of situation. Coming on to the evaluation of the second KPI, which is staff cost as a percentage of revenue, it's absolutely good. Okay, now let's move on. Now look at the next part of the question. With reference to the experiences at Megasnack, discuss the reasons for conflict between the strategic business plans of a large organization and short-term decision making happening at local level. We need to discuss why there is a conflict that is happening between the overall strategical plans of the Megasnack organization as a whole versus the so-called stupid decisions that is being, we cannot say it is stupid decisions, it is we can say a desperate decisions being taken by the local level branch managers. Anyway, let's try to get into that. Okay, what is the concept that we are going to discuss right now? Conflict of interest between whom and whom? Strategic business plans for long term by the organization versus short term decision making at the local level. Okay, so what is the main reason for this is what we are going to analyze. See, all this so-called rules and regulations and stuff of the so-called big corporations are decided by the senior manager. They are decided by what? Senior management, and will be delegated to the local management. This is the first problem. So what are these so-called plans? Strategic business plans, that is nothing but SBP, strategic business plans. They are usually long-term in nature. They are not short-term. Please try to understand. This is a major reason for conflict. They are usually long-term in nature. But once it is delegated to the local management thought process, the local managers are always short-term in nature. That's why they take short-term decisions. And it's not the mistake of local managers as well. It is a mistake of the management itself. Why? Because they give local managers short-term performance targets. Within 3 months, this much sales should be achieved, so that you will get so much of discount. Within next 1 month, so much of cost should get reduced, so that you will get so much of discount. Within another 2 months, so much of revenue turnover should be achieved, so that you will get so much of discounts. You get all this pressure from where? From the senior level management. And now what these local management, they only try to achieve it for their own selfishness, so that they get bonus. Either it is bonus or pressure by the head office. Are you able to understand? So the head office sees the organization in a bigger perspective, in a broader view, what's gonna be next 2 years or 3 years, something like that. Local managers will have a narrow view. They'll just see for another 3 months. They'll not have the vision of the higher level management. That's natural. You can't ask them to have. They'll be looking at next 3 months or next 2 months or next 1 month. That's it. Unlike head office or the organization as a whole, who will be looking at next 2 years or 3 years. Got the point? So Now, so reaction to the local environment, for example, like the competitors offering discounts will force the local managers to offer the same discount irrespective of the head office policy. And they are right in their own perspective. You cannot say that they are wrong, because they want to protect their business, they want to protect their interest, because their interest is there in that particular business, although they are the franchisee owners of the so-called the biggest brand in the world with respect to fast food business, but still they have to protect their own business. So when a competitor goes on offering discounts, that will force them also to offer discounts. There's nothing wrong in doing that. So that's why the policy has to be better. It has to be better communicated to the local managers, because it's a natural human tendency here. You got it? So short-term focus and local focus. Short-term focus is cutting cost and giving discounts. By how do you cut cost? It has been given in the question, by not giving enough training to the staff. So anyway, so basically the problem with this so-called long-term strategic performance targets and short-term budgets are not consistent with each other. For example, if long-term strategic plan is to have growth in business, it would be inconsistent not to expect some cost to increase. Correct? So this is the problem. So on one side, your strategic business plan for next 2 years or next 1 year will be to have so much of growth in business. If you want to have so much of growth in business, then you have to manufacture more. You have to, when you have to manufacture more, then you have to invest in a bigger mission. Then there will be more fixed cost, or you have to invest in more human resources, more employees. That will lead to more cost. So on one side you say that I want to have a growth in business, on other side you are giving a targets like percentage of cost out of revenue, something like that, where you are discouraging the cost to get increased. Now without cost getting increased, you will not be able to achieve growth. So the problem is with your strategies itself. Your strategies are contrary to each other. That's what we are trying to say here. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell you? Very interesting this is. So the problem is long-term strategic business targets and short-term business targets, because they are not consistent with each other. For example, if long-term strategic plan is to have growth in business, it would be inconsistent not to expect some cost to increase. Cost will obviously increase, otherwise how will you have growth? You understand that? That's the point. So in this way, if targets are inconsistent, then the short-term cost-cutting decisions are actually indirectly encouraged by head office only. That's the funniest part. You understand the point? Because your targets themselves are inconsistent. On one side you say, I need so much of sales growth. On another side you say, I don't want the cost to get increased. Then because you said the cost should not be increased, that's why people go for cost cutting by way of not giving enough training to the employees. So indirectly that's because of head office only, because of your inconsistent so-called two goals. Suppose your goal would have been, okay, long-term growth should happen, and accordingly if there is proportionate increase in cost, then it's acceptable. Then these kind of so-called short-term decisions of cost cutting, where not giving enough training to the employees, will never happen, right? So it's indirectly encouraged by you only. That's what we are trying to say here. Also, head office may not communicate all of its policies well to the local manager, and that's the reason probably some of the local managers are not able to dispose of the food in so-called environment friendly manner. Probably that's the reason that's happening. We don't know. You got the point? Next. Also, lack of clarity among local managers towards companies' policies seems to be obvious. Otherwise, how outlets in one country have sold additional products whether head office had not made it clear to them that the menu should be fixed? That will be an obvious point, right? So it's a common sense. See, even tomorrow this kind of, suppose a case study comes to you, if you're a management consultant, you'll ask a basic problem. Arey yaar, aap to bada company hai. It's a very big company, and obviously you say that conformity is the major principle for yours as a business, which means you want all your so-called branches in different countries, all your outlets to have same pricing or same products, same kind of the interior design stuff, etc. In that case, it's pretty obvious that a guy who is taking franchisee of yours, you would have communicated the same, saying that this is our menu and this is what you have to keep. You cannot have additional products. So it really seems to be strange. We don't know. If the head office would have communicated really well, then probably I don't think the local so-called manager would dare to add some additional products, because he also wants to protect his own selfishness. So if company or the head office would have made their point clear, saying that if you go for any sort of additional products apart from what is there in the menu, then probably we'll cut off the agreement or something like that, he would not have gone for it. So the very fact of the so-called local managers going for additional products shows lack of clarity among local managers towards the policies of the head office. Are you able to understand? Now, that's what we have told here. Lack of clarity among local managers towards companies' policies seems to be very obvious, because otherwise how outlets in one country can sold what additional products? The head office should have made it clear the moment when the agreement is being done that the menu is obviously fixed. Got it? Simple. So what is the final summary over here? Very simple. Generally these so-called policies are decided by the senior management. It is delegated to the local management. The problem is with the policies of senior management itself, because they are inconsistent with each other. On one side, the best example is, on one side you expect sales growth to happen, on other side you don't want cost to increase. Normally when sales growth are expected to happen, when any growth is expected to happen, cost should increase, cost will increase, cost must increase. Are you able to understand? Proportionately, not too much. That's what. Are you able to understand? So your targets are inconsistent, which has been fixed by the top level management or the head office, and that's why the short-term decisions of cost cutting, like not training the employees, is being taken by the local managers. So indirectly it is encouraged by head office only. And you have to clearly communicate your so-called rules, regulations, policies to the local managers. Otherwise this so-called disposal of food harming the environment won't happen, and so-called manager, what do you call, removing all the employees from job just because they've gone for strike will not happen, and the so-called local managers having additional products in their menu also will not happen. Got it? Fantastic. Now let's move on to the last part. So what is the last part of the question? Recommend the measures that senior management at Mega Snacks should take to reduce the scope for such conflict and risk that might occur in future. Very simple. The first step they have to take is remove the inconsistency between your own targets. Anyway, chalo. Okay, the first one is problem recognition. Recognize that the problem exists and analyze it. First one, obvious. It's a basic common sense question. Second one is strategy review. So whatever the strategy that you have, that's nothing but the targets, review them, and all the inconsistency, if at all they have, you try to eliminate them. So current strategy of standard product and service implies no flexibility and innovation, correct? So local decision making by managers may have been proposed due to this. Okay, so try to keep it a little bit more flexible. You allow the so-called local managers to give discount, provided if they are forced to do so because their competitor is giving discount. So give that little bit of flexibility, give them little bit of innovation, so that even the customers also will feel fresh whenever they try to innovate with an additional product. So that's one thing. Next, performance targets. Instead of rewarding local managers based on financial targets, you better go for a BSC, balanced scorecard. It could be a probable solution. Have some KPIs, key performance indicators also. If you have financial targets, means what will happen? See, let's look at the same example. I'll tell you the importance of this particular point. Right now you're rewarding your local managers in this particular question, Mega Snacks, based on financial targets. That's why what they have done, financial targets means numbers. So what they have done eventually, they have compromised on giving training, and as a result they have reduced the cost. As a result they have achieved your target profit probably, and therefore probably they've got their bonus. Now in case if you would have followed balanced scorecard, then in the financial perspective of the balanced scorecard, the financial perspective would be healthy, obviously, because you have saved cost, you have cut cost by not giving proper training to the employees. But at the same time, because of not giving proper training to the employees, these guys will not provide good service, and eventually in the long run, maybe 2 months or 3 months later, it will affect the sales, thereby revenue gets affected, thereby profit gets affected, customer satisfaction also gets affected. So in the customer perspective it will be reflected, so they will get caught. Are you able to understand? So if your performance targets is based on BSC, that is balanced scorecard, where both numbers and non-numbers are given due importance, then these kind of mistakes will not happen. Got the point? Next, improved communication. Because there is no proper communication from the head office to the local managers, that's the reason this environmental disturbing food disposal, additional products, okay, firing all these employees who have gone on strike, all these things are happening. So everything should be clearly communicated to the local managers. Are able to understand? Example, consistency of products, health and safety, and environmental protection, the rules and regulations and the policies of the company. If it is clearly communicated, then this sort of mishaps will not happen. And finally, most important, after doing all the changes, monitor all your branches. Have a strong internal audit team who will monitor, such that all these inconsistencies immediately will be picked up by the internal audit team, and they will immediately inform you so that you can take the corrective measures. Got the point? That's it. Anyway, so finally, problem recognition, strategy review, eliminate all the inconsistency in your strategies fixed by the top level management, which we have seen. Performance targets, don't just measure numbers, measure also non-numbers. Are able to understand, like BSC, so that whatever the mistakes they do, like the way of short-term decision making, by reducing the cost, by way of not giving proper training to the employees, will get caught up, will get picked up by BSC in customer perspective, because the customer will not be satisfied because of lack of proper training. Definitely the customer service will be bad. And improved communication, so that you communicate well all your policies, rules and regulations, so that they don't do all this kind of environmental damaging, food disposal, you know, removing of all these employees who have went on strike, and removing, in the sense, removing the job, and adding all those so-called additional products will not happen. And finally, after making all the good changes, monitor them, have a strong internal control team, internal audit team, who will go and make the internal audit, such that immediately if there are any inconsistencies in any of the branches, it will be immediately picked up. Got it? That's it. So that's all about this particular second case study. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Okay, in case if you're watching this video in YouTube, students who are watching this in Google Drive or pen drive, or Android app, if you really like this, and if you want me to make more and more international case studies, send me a WhatsApp message to the number 924694644. That's the PKSR classes number. You want to buy our classes or anything you want to communicate, that's the number. You have to WhatsApp or message. Telegram also you can do. And those who are watching in YouTube, if you guys have really liked this video and if you want me to make more videos and upload in YouTube, definitely hit that like button, and definitely comment. See, I have put some at least 15 to 20 hours of effort into this. Now you guys can spend 1 minute and write a comment what you have genuinely felt about this particular video. So that's the encouragement and happiness for us, right? So once I see those comments, and once I see that response is tremendous, and that itself will push me. Arey yaar, the response was tremendous. So put in bit more hard work, spend late nights, and try to make much more videos. So I'll come up with more videos and I'll try to upload it in the YouTube channel. Got the point? And thank you so much for the fantastic response and beautiful comments for the first case study, international case study. And I hope this video also will get the same appreciation from you guys. Love and appreciation. Spend your valuable time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and at the same time just spend that additional minute and comment what you feel. And because the YouTube algorithm also works that way, so it will have a more reach also. So I want this kind of special videos to reach more people, so that more people will get benefited. And if you really like it, hit that like button. Everything helps in the YouTube algorithm, and that will also definitely motivate me. So that's why I'm specifically telling this, because that's all ultimately what we want, right? Happiness from your comment. Chalo guys, so thank you so much. Now what you guys can do is that if somebody who doesn't want to copy, you can just stop the video over here. People who want to copy, I'll give you time, you can copy now. Thank you. Chalo guys, copy. I'll give you 2 minutes per page. You can copy the solution. Right, guys. Next, copy this. Right, guys. Next. Done with the copying, guys. Done with copying, guys. Next page. Copy it, guys. Next. Copy this. guys. Right, guys. Next page. Look at this. next, guys. Right, guys. Next to this one. Right guys, I hope you are done with your copying. Chalo, let's finish off this session.